Welcome to NovelBot. This is the audiobook of Rebirth of a Genius. Creator Destroyer Chapter 3133. Sam started walking as the rest of the three stared at his back in daze. They really heard and remembered the elder's words, but only understood now how much those words could mean. Come on, only half of the seniors are out. There is still other half of them roaming around. I think it won't take long before they figure out something happened to their main base. Let's just go to their main base and rest for Mo, and we can plan further, Sam said in an unusually loud tone. The three of them were quite puzzled but didn't mention anything and followed Sam. As soon as four of them left, a black shadow moved and started traveling in the opposite direction. He is none other than a member of the second scout team. Sam halted in his steps in the narrow pathway and turned around completely. He smirked as he looked at the back of the figure who was moving at a rapid pace. Sam then spoke. Change of plans. We need to set a huge trap inside the main cave and let them find another hiding point. The three of them were obviously confused by Sam's decision and exchanged glances. Sam shook his head and said, "Trust me. The information of us going to rest is already on its way to the rest of the team which is still in out there. I really underestimated Philip. He really did a great job forming an information network. Okay, let's go before the wolves wake up. We need to make our preparations as early as possible," Sam said and started running towards the main cave of the senior team. Meanwhile at the viewing platforms, everyone stared at Sam as if they were afraid to miss any of his actions. They really broadened their horizons. They saw Sam making use of the most common traps, and then taking out half of the senior team all by himself. Even though there are other three, they really didn't help much. When they looked at the screen showing the score, they saw that out of 55 members that were eliminated in senior team, 35 are under Sam, and the rest of the 20 members are under the remaining three who followed Sam. The remaining freshman team really did nothing. This guy is too smart, one of the elders said, and rest couldn't help but nod in acceptance. Sam really used every resource in the forest as if they were his own personal tools. They really felt that Harry made a mistake without using him properly. Now, not only is he humiliating all the seniors by making fools out of them by using these tricks, he is even decreasing the chances of the remaining freshman team. The nobles felt like they should really take care of him as soon as possible. Because, with Sam's intelligence and talent and the way he remembered and took revenge for all the grudges, they might really be in trouble. In the testing grounds, while Sam and the other three are planning on how to deal with the remaining senior team members, something major happened in the forest near the freshman base camp vicinity. This situation even diverted the attention of all the spectators at the viewing platforms from Sam and his group. At a place not far from a river crossing, the senior attack team and the junior attack team are both in a confrontation. Both the attack teams are in a standstill, not daring to make the first move at all. Even though the junior attack team has outnumbered the senior attack team by more than twice as they were around 30 members, and the senior team has only 15 members left, the junior team is at a major disadvantage, as there are more late-stage acolytes in the senior attack team. Harry looked at the team members of the senior attack team with nervousness apparent in his eyes. He really didn't think that he will land in this kind of situation. He thought that he can go around the attack team, and then directly confront the defense team of the seniors at their main base, and try his luck at merging the sphere in between the battle. Never in his dreams did he think that the senior attack team will directly clash with them. He almost wants to curse them all. We are in luck to meet Harry the Sun, our city lord, this early in the competition. What do you think, everyone? The leader of the attack team addressed his teammates in a sarcastic way. Mason, don't get too Isekai quickly. We haven't even battled yet to know who is the winner, Harry said in anger as he heard the team leader's sarcastic manner. Well, you guys think too highly of yourselves to think that you can beat us, just because you outnumber us, Mason, who is the team leader of the senior attack team, said. He is the son of the captain of the city guards. So, he is clearly acquainted with Harry, and both of them didn't get along well at all. You are overconfident, Harry retorted with a sneer. You could say so, because you don't outnumber us by as much as you think, Attack Mason roared, but neither him nor the teammates behind him made a move. Just as Harry was getting puzzled, three men suddenly came out of the ground beneath the freshman team and attacked by catching them off guard. They each took care of people at the same time and eliminated 6 of the freshman team. The freshman team was immediately in chaos. Just as Harry was about to command something and control the situation, Mason and his team moved and started attacking. Fireballs, water spheres, wind blades were flying through as they started hitting each other. This is not like a battle at all. It is more like a mob fight. Out of nowhere, more members from the senior team came join the battle. Harry sweated profusely as he tried to think of a solution. Just then a whistling sound came as an arrow tore through the wind and pierced through his back. Ah! Harry screamed in misery. The city lord immediately stood up in his seat as he saw his son got injured. But he couldn't do anything. Harry looked at the direction from which the arrow came and saw a young man in the senior uniform aiming and shooting at the freshman. Harry realized that winning is impossible. Flee. This is the only thought that is left in his mind. Even if the team here is eliminated, he has still 20 people at the defense, and another 45 people in the form of various scout and battle teams. If he can escape now and gather them at a same place and fight back, he might actually stay for more time in the test. This is what Harry thought as he tried to flee. Then another arrow pierced his leg. He fell down and started screaming in pain. Mason slowly moved towards him and stood in front of him. Then he made various hand seals and a lot of vines grew from the ground and tied Harry in his place. Then he said with a smirk, "Harry, you better give up now and hand over the sphere. You already lost." Harry gritted his teeth, and his eyes are filled with unwillingness and resentment. He wanted to shine in this competition and wanted to be titled as the best freshman, but first Sam came and foiled his plans, and now he was caught by the senior attack team, and that too in the hands of the son of the subordinate of his father. He felt like he is humiliated. He looked at Mason's face and wriggled his hand out and reached into his pocket. Mason thought that he is going to break his token, so he didn't stop him. But Harry took out the silver sphere and started frenziedly injecting all his spiritual energy. Mason widened his eyes, and just as he was about to make a move, he realized it was already too late. The silver sphere burst into several particles and turned into a powder. Everyone saw what happened and were dumbfounded by Harry's actions. "Ha ha 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 ha, if I can't have the bonus of merging the sphere, nobody can have it," Harry said hysterically as he broke his token. All the seniors started cursing under their breaths as they watched Harry vanishing from the spot. The freshmen had even more unsightly expressions as they saw the sphere destroyed. They were more concerned about the sphere being here than the fact that Harry has destroyed it. After all, they didn't have much expectation on winning against the senior team. But they didn't expect their team leader to be this self-centered, and didn't trust the team members at all. He just wanted the points of merging, which will inevitably make him the best freshman with the highest number of points. "Shit," this asshole Matthew cursed and then spoke to the one beside him. "Give the signal and tell all the team members to assemble at the cave." All the members retreat, Matthew said as he started running. The rest of the team also followed, and the seniors still kept on pushing with long-range attacks. By the time the remaining attack team of the junior team were in safe place, they were only 10 members left. Mason didn't give the command to follow as he saw a scout coming towards him in a hurry. He thought that something happened and just ordered everyone to stay. After a few moments, the scout finally reached them and said in a shaky voice, "Matthew, the main base is compromised. All 50 members in the defense are down." As soon as the rest of the members heard this news, they were all stupefied. After a few seconds' silence, Mason spoke after he took a deep breath. "How?" "According to the scouts from Team 2, 4 people from the junior team lured the Darkwind Wolf Pack towards our main base and made them move towards the trap they previously set. 50 members are already out," the scout said. "How did you guys know this?" Mason asked again after digesting the information. "The Team 1 sent us an urgent report which has to be delivered to the main base." The scout who's responsible went there and saw the scene where the scenario happened and the 4 freshmen discussing the plans for further action. "Apparently, they were going to our main base and hiding there until we return," the scout finished saying in a single breath. "I knew this would happen." The Earth Element Warrior Mage from the Evergreen family, who is also part of the trio from the first team, said as he sighed. Everyone turned and looked at him in a puzzled expression. "Dorman, what do you mean?" Mason asked. "Previously, when we took out the defense team of the freshman team, we got a piece of information. The person named Sam, about whom Philip had warned us against, has been set free, and another 3 people followed him," Dorman said. "What do you mean set free?" Mason inquired. But some people who saw the second round had already understood. "Actually, this guy Sam is the first-ranked candidate, and he defeated the rest of top 100 by luring them into a trap, by setting up a formation. He is not only good in hand-to-hand combat, he is also good at formations and archery. He even defeated Harry when he was surrounded by all of Harry's lackeys. So, Harry took the leadership role and then completely didn't include Sam in the team and kicked him out. What Philip said is that with Harry's petty character, he would drag Sam down by giving him his worst task as possible, but he really overestimated Harry's intelligence. Now, Sam not only is free, but also has some helpers. He will be really dangerous as he is very proficient in setting formations and plotting strategies. If we can't catch him as early as possible, he will be a headache," Dorman said as he sighed dejectedly. Mason also remembered what Philip said, and so did the rest of the team. Honestly, they first thought that Philip is just exaggerating as some of them are confident that they won't fall for his tricks, and some of the people who saw the second round thought that since they saw it, they can avoid it. But when they heard about the news of 50 seniors getting eliminated, they were at a loss of words on what to say. They really didn't think that Sam would be this troublesome. Just as they were feeling happy about their overwhelming victory on the freshmen, they got a news that their team has got reduced by half. That despicable SC.UM. He is nothing but a trash who has to resort to these kinds of petty traps and tricks. He is nothing but a coward. Just as the whole team were silently thinking on what to do, someone cursed. When they turned towards the direction, they saw Carl gritting his teeth, and his face was red with anger. Not only him, the rest of the noble household students are all in the same state, except the people from the Evergreen family. Carl noticed all the gazes and said, "I will lead a team and eliminate him." Even though he didn't mention who he was speaking to, everyone can make a guess and turn towards Mason. Mason thought for a moment and said, "No need for you to go. We will all first attack the main base of the freshmen and move back to deal with Sam and his followers. You already heard how he lured the wolf pack. If we separate now, the rate of the success is very low. We already lost more than half of our team, which is the first time in history. The highest the previous freshmen got against our seniors is at most less than half of our losses. We can't afford to lose anymore and humiliate ourselves. Scout Team 2 will keep watching them. Everyone in the team agreed and nodded. Seeing that he can't convince them, Carl gritted his teeth and just followed the team. So, the team all started walking towards the freshman main camp. At the freshman main camp, right at this moment, all the freshmen are gathering. All the scout teams and ambush teams all came and formed a group. Matthew took the responsibility of the leader and spoke. The defense team at the main base is eliminated, and we are the only ones left in the team. The senior team is coming to attack our main base. We are going to take a stand here and are going to defend and survive as long as we can. We have to drag as many people as we can with us. Yes, all the freshmen shouted and started moving to take their positions. After a few minutes, the senior team came. There are about 35 people in the team. Right now, the senior team has assembled all the team members on this side of the river crossing. Only 10 people are left on other side, and all are part of the Team 2 scouts. The Team 1 is of 10 people, and Team 2 is of 20 people. The people of Team 2 are responsible for information transfer. Now, all are assembled. The battle at main base of the freshmen started and is completely one-sided. Even though there are more people on the freshman team, they are completely overpowered due to their inferiority of their cultivation base, and soon all of them are eliminated, and the senior team had to pay a price of 5 people. Senior team took some rest and all of them stayed silent. Nobody is happy as they lost a total of 60 people, and this is a clear humiliation, and all of this is due to 4 freshmen. In fact, it could be said that it is all due to one person. He only, with the help of 3 others, took out more than half of the team. This only made their mood gloomier. After a few hours, the sun is already high up in the sky, and there is still more than 12 hours to the finish of the competition. Due to the fact that Harry destroyed the sphere, there are only 2 ways to win the competition. First one is to eliminate all the candidates from the opposite team, and second one is to eliminate a greater number of people than the other team, before the time limit is up. That is the reason Mason declined the idea of Carl leading a team to eliminate Sam and his companions. He doesn't want any mishaps to happen. If Carl and the team he led got eliminated, he would surely regret it. Mason and the rest of the team are currently at the river crossing. They probed, and further confirming that the river gators are gone, they crossed the river, and then started walking towards their main base. On the way the rest of the team also joined, and the remaining 40 people of the senior team slowly and cautiously traveled until they came to the narrow path leading to the open grounds before their main base cave. A team of 10 people cautiously traveled through the narrow route and came out from the other side. When they saw that there are no traps like the pits they saw earlier, they started checking the flow of energy for any presence of the formations. After confirming that everything was clear, they immediately signaled the rest of the group to come. Soon the group slowly made their way to the cave and cautiously entered it. On their way, they clearly saw the tracks of the wolves. But to their luck the wolves already returned to their lair after they became conscious. When they finally entered the cave and confirmed there are no traps, they heaved a sigh of relief and relaxed a bit. But Mason has a gloomy expression and was in deep thought. At the viewing platforms, the spectators all observing the scene without batting an eyelid. Because Sam and his companions right now are on a small hilltop near the cave, and are looking towards the cave. Sam was watching the scene of the seniors team entering the cave cautiously, as if they were walking on the eggshells. He has a cold smirk on his face as he looked at their looks of concentration and vigilant expressions. The remaining 3 are all looked at Sam waiting for his next move. Sam looked at the cave, which is not far but not near either. He then took out a weapon out of black metal bow, and knocked a ranked arrow. He then pulled the string to its limit, and injected his golden flame energy ready to fire at any moment. He then said to the other 3, "Get ready, we are going to have a melee combat with them after the initial attack. So, as soon as they get out of the cave, hit them with your best long-range attacks. Move now and inform me when you are ready." As soon as he finished, the remaining 3 immediately moved. After a few moments the signal came and Sam immediately released the arrow. The arrow tore through the air and entered a hole which was previously created by Sam and entered the cave and hit the ground in the middle with a loud explosion, and a crashing sound of glass could be heard as a red vapor immediately filled the cave. Mason immediately felt that something is not right and shouted, "It's a trap, get out of here." But it was already too late. Some of the people in the cave already fell unconscious, and the rest of them ran outside. Just as they were trying to catch their breath, suddenly they felt a sense of danger. Mason immediately looked around and out of blue he felt an acute pain in his leg. He looked down and saw an arrow pierce through it, and then he looked towards the direction where it came from. He saw a figure clad in black as his outer cloth swaying slightly wind. That man has a bow in his hand as he shot arrow after arrow at the senior team, with a speed so high that he can't even see his movements. He came out of his daze and turned towards his teammates to give orders to hide, but he saw they were all being attacked by various long-range attacks. Some people are struck in soil, and some people are being attacked by some flying daggers. Some water spheres could also be seen. He shouted, "Be careful. Defend yourself." He shouted again as he took shelter behind a think rock. Soon the seniors came to their senses and started defending themselves. By the time they took shelter and the commotion died, they saw only 15 members of the team are still conscious. There are around 10 people who fell unconscious on the ground, and the morale of the senior team died down. Don't worry, they are not yet eliminated. As long as we can take them down and not let them break the tokens of our team members, we can save them. Mason shouted to his team members as he tried to boost their morale. All the seniors looked at their friends and then exchanged glances. Soon, someone spoke. Yo, kids. Is that all you got? Are these little tricks the only thing you know? If you have guts, come and fight me. Yes, what is the name of your leader again? Sam, right. I heard you are so great in close combat and are not afraid of anyone. Why don't you come out and let us see for ourselves? How come you guys are not coming out? Come on, let us fight hand to hand instead of these cheap tricks. Everyone started to provoke Sam and others as they continued to spout endless nonsense. Not far away, Sam and the other three are also hiding behind a rock. Now that the seniors are on guard against them, it is almost impossible to attack long range. Sam is hearing the provocations with an amused smile. Suddenly, he heard Sean shouting from beside. All of you call yourselves seniors. We are 4 and you are more than 10, and some of you guys even have cultivation above us. And you have gall to ask us to fight head on. He scoffed loudly. Immediately all the provocations died down. Suddenly, another voice came from the seniors' side. Sam, you despicable piece of shit. Come out if you are really a man. If I don't make you regret living today, I won't call myself Carl again. Hearing this, all the seniors looked puzzled and dumbfounded. Then another shout came. You country bumpkin, come out and accept your fate. You piece of trash, come on if you have balls. All the noble family students in the senior team are insulting Sam. The other seniors felt quite confused. Sam has a feud with all the noble families except for the Evergreen family. Due to that feud, he deliberately targeted all the other candidates from the noble families and eliminated them very early in the second round. Now only Harry and the candidates from the Evergreen family are the only students belonging to the noble families in the freshmen. Dorman explained to the remaining seniors, and realization dawned onto them. They felt that Sam is crazy to have a feud with the noble families and eliminate the juniors of the family, making them fail in the admission. No wonder, this Carl and others are all angry. Everyone thought. Then Dorman continued. Carl has an extra reason. He lost a bet with Philip, and 5,000 spirit stones are gone because Sam beat his cousin in second round. Everybody looked at Carl with a weird look. Why bother betting, and why bother taking it on someone who didn't even know you lost because of him? Damn, so much for being a noble. You might as well blame the tree, since the bird pooped on you has a nest on it. All the seniors who are a little broad-minded have thoughts like these. Carl glared at Dorman, and then he felt the gazes of all the other seniors. He felt incredibly ashamed and shouted. Sam, I will fucking kill you today. Meanwhile, Melissa and others all looked to Sam, whose expression got colder and colder, as they heard all the insults hurled at him. Sam suddenly stood up and took out a staff. This is not the black staff he used yesterday. Instead, it is golden in color and is shining brightly under the sun. The staff has smooth surface, and there is a symbol of ~S' cover near one end of the staff, and there are some engravings near it. Sam looked at the three and said, cover me from afar. You don't have to directly attack anyone. All you have to do is distract them if anyone tries to sneak up on me from behind. Sam said and started walking. Sam. It's dangerous. Melissa said from behind. But all he got in reply is a cold stare which seemed to say, do what I say. He then left without turning back. As soon as seniors saw someone walking towards them, they looked at him and saw Sam walking towards them with a golden staff in his hand. His face was as cold as ice, and the aura around him is completely chilly and evil. Sam's expression is now completely sinister as he stopped a few meters away from them. He then held the staff on one end and kept the other end on his shoulder, and said in an emotionless voice, those who called me can come and say all the shit to my face. Of course, the context is that you have balls to say that. His voice is soft but cold. He didn't even glaze at them when talking and looking to the side, as if it was beneath him to look at them, and treated them as thin air. The seniors looked at his arrogant demeanor and felt like they were humiliated. But none of them made a move and looked at the seniors who called out Sam and waited. Soon, around 7 members came out of their hiding spots as they looked at Sam with angry eyes. They were instructed by the family. Kill him, if chance arrives. Even though they know that Sam can escape as soon as he broke the token, they still had to try their luck. The 7 surrounded Sam. There are 3 who are late-stage acolytes, and all of them are 7th stage. Carl is one of them and is the only mage warrior. The remaining 4 are all middle-stage acolytes, out of which 3 are at 5th stage, and the last one is at 6th stage. Sam looked at them nonchalantly as if he doesn't have any pressure. This made them even more infuriated, and one of the guys in middle stage made a move. He is a warrior and swung his saber at Sam with a ferocious aura. But just as he was about to hit, his target vanished and appeared behind another one of the middle stage acolyte, who didn't make any move. Before anyone could understand how Sam escaped, they saw Sam swinging his staff in an extreme speed. All they saw is a golden blur and flash of a golden flame sphere at the point of contact between the staff and the person. That's it. Before they realized, a golden flame explosion occurred, and by the time the flames are gone, they saw the senior who got hit lying there unconscious with his body scorched black. They all looked at the place where Sam stood, and before they could make sense of the situation, they saw another blur, and another guy also got scorched black as if he was grilled on fire. This time Sam didn't move and stood there. He placed a foot on face of the guy and placed the staff on his shoulder, and looked at all the seniors who came out of their hiding, and scanned them with his cold gaze. Then all the people there heard Sam sing, "TCH, TCH. What a shame they fainted." Then he looked at Carl and said, "You were right to call me trash. They're still breathing after all." All the people who heard Sam's words were utterly dumbfounded as they looked at his cold and emotionless face, and then looked at the person who was scorched black under his foot. Even though he is alive now, he wouldn't be able to take it for long. He will definitely die if he isn't treated in time. Now, they understood why Philip said so many times to be wary of him. Mason looked at Sam with his mouth wide open. It is really our luck that he doesn't have patience to deal us one at a time. That is why he is using the traps. If he took it up on himself and started hunting the seniors one by one patiently, we would have been in even more trouble other than worrying about winning the competition. He thought as gulped hard. The most shocked is still the noble kids. They really didn't expect Sam's strength to be that great. They were now regretting stepping out. The other two middle stage acolytes are already trying to take their tokens and escape. Suddenly, Sam moved and the first person to take the token felt some explosion on back of his head. Under the surprising gazes of everyone present, a senior student fell motionless on the ground, and he doesn't even have the faint breath that the first two victims have. He is dead. This is the thought on everyone's mind. Mason soon came out of his daze and came forward and started making hand seals, and soon, some vines started sprouting from the ground and coiled along Sam, as they tried to tie him up. Just as Mason was about to give commands to his teammates who were still in daze, he saw a big ball of golden fire burning in the place where Sam stood. After a few seconds, all the vines started turning into ashes. Sam came out of the fire and walked towards Melissa and others who were standing out of the hiding place and are watching the fight with awe. He stood in front of them and said, "Our cooperation ends here. Take the ones who were inside the cave and get out of here. I am not responsible if you got involved in between." He finished and didn't wait for any reply, and turned around and started walking. "You need our help?" Sean asked from behind. Sam halted in his footsteps but didn't look at them and said, "No need." Then he walked away again. They watched Sam's back as he walked majestically with his staff in his hand. Soon they came out of daze and started running towards the cave. The seniors just saw the scene and didn't do anything. They are just watching who is still walking towards them. Sam walked towards a central point in between the group and said nonchalantly as looked around the seniors, "I don't care if you are seniors, I don't care if you are from the noble families or common families. But today I am going to take their heads no matter what," he said as he pointed at the remaining 4 noble family senior students. The 4 of them started sweating profusely. They didn't expect the insults they used to provoke Sam would have this much reaction from him. They also felt a bit puzzled. They clearly saw Sam only has a cultivation of 3rd stage acolyte. But he has that much power that he could go toe-to-toe with a 7th stage acolyte, and he might even win with the proper planning and weapons. If any of you got any objections, you can also join the fight. But remember one thing. If you join the fight, make sure I am dead today. Otherwise, even if you leave, I will make sure to pay you back later. Sam continued with same nonchalant expression. Just as all the seniors were hesitating, Sam moved suddenly and appeared beside another guy who was in the middle stage acolyte and broke his arm. Crack! A blood-curdling scream came from the guy. He is one of the first 7 who provoked Sam. When they saw him, they noticed that there is the token in his hand. Sam has broken his hand because he wanted to escape. Sam threw the guy away and stood there and looked at the seniors who were part of the conflict. All of them took a step back under his cold gaze. Even Mason felt hesitant about helping the others. His instinct told that even if they could kill Sam now by ganging up on him, they had to pay a terrible price, which might even cripple or even kill many of them. Carl looked at the scene as the other seniors were all backing down with fear apparent on his face. Just then he thought of an idea. "If you guys don't help me now, all of you will be enemies of all the noble family descendants. If we make it out of here alive, I will take revenge on all your families." Just as he finished his words, all the seniors who were about to leave stopped in their tracks. Meanwhile, the people who fell unconscious due to Sam's trap also woke up. Sam turned towards the cave and saw that no one is there. So, he heaved a sigh and looked at all the seniors who were around him. Including the people who just woke up, there are around 23 people around him, and 8 of them are at late stage acolytes, out of which 6 of them are at 7th stage, and 2 of them are at the 8th stage. The 2 are precisely Mason and Dorman. Sam noticed Dorman's clothes and looked at him with a questioning look. Dorman understood and said, "I am from the Evergreen family. We don't want to have a conflict with you. So, I will just stay aside." As he spoke, he and 3 middle stage acolytes moved to the side. The rest of the crowd except Mason all surrounded Sam with dejected expressions. Sam then looked at Mason. Mason shook his head and spoke as he matched Sam's gaze. Can we drop this? It is not good for any of us if the conflict blows out proportions. He tried to mediate. He knew that he can't convince these noble kids. So, he tried his luck with Sam. But he was disappointed looking at Sam's expression. Then he just looked at the seniors who came from the common families and said, "You guys can step back. You have nothing to do with this." As soon as he said this, the rest of the seniors who were threatened by Carl earlier took a step back and heaved a sigh in relief. Even Carl was gritting his teeth and didn't have anything to say. Technically, Mason is not a noble, but his father is responsible for the security of the city, and he reports directly to the superior of the city lord. So, he didn't dare directly antagonize him. As soon as Mason took his stand, Sam moved. He was like a phantom as he moved around the seniors and touched them. The 4 seniors were caught off guard. There are 4 of them, but none of them was able to catch Sam or block him. He was like a ghost, and his presence seemed to disappear. They noticed that his speed also improved so much than previous time. Right now, Sam is gritting his teeth and completely focused on his and left all the defense off guard. If they could land a hit on him now, they might even win in a single strike. Within few seconds, Sam came back to his original place and stood there while sweating profusely. Now, all the seniors already are in attack position. The mages all started making hand seals while the warriors drew their weapons, but when they saw what is in Sam's other hand, they felt like their heart dropping. There are a lot of leather pouches in his hand. These are the pouches in which the seniors kept their tokens. Now, they finally understood what Sam was trying to do. He didn't have any intention to attack at all. He is stealing their tokens. Sam didn't care at all and took out a big leather bag and kept all the pouches in it. Then he took his token from his coat pocket and put them in the leather bag and closed it. Then he threw the bag towards the place he and his teammates hid. He turned towards the seniors and said, "If anyone wants to go out, the other party has to die." Just as he finished, he held his staff and started his attack. This time the whole staff is glowing in a golden Elias tree and is covered with golden flames. He swung the staff as he hit a senior at middle stage acolyte stage. As soon as he landed the hit, the flames covered the certain area as if an explosion occurred. The senior who took the hit only fainted, but his injuries are light either. Sam is using the atmospheric spiritual energy for these attacks, instead of how he used his own energy to attack earlier, when he killed the previous guy. This is to make sure his spiritual energy lasts long. But this method will make him mentally exhausted. When Mason saw Sam's attacks, which became less ruthless, he relaxed a little, but he still felt a little tension. He really didn't want Sam or his teammates die in this battle. Because they all are going to be in same academy. That is why he is standing out of this. If Sam got defeated, he would step and save his life, making him owe him. Then he can use his authority over seniors and mediate the dispute. As for Sam winning, he felt that it would be possible, and if that happens, he has to stop this by making the seniors step back before things got serious. But looking at the fight, he felt that it was in a deadlock. The seniors weren't able to land a clean hit on Sam since the beginning due to his extreme speed. But Sam also was having a bit hard time because of facing 3 superior cultivators at the late stage acolyte. Even then he is not at disadvantage. The scene looked majestic as golden flame was flying in all directions with Sam as center. Boom! Suddenly a fire blast came and hit Sam, and he took a few steps back as he tried to defend the attack. He is currently facing 2 warriors and a mage, all at the 7th level acolyte. Carl is the mage with fire attribute. Out of 7 who came at him, he already killed and 1 and the rest of 3 fainted. Now, all he has to do is to deal with the 3 people in front of him, and everything will be settled. Sam took a deep breath and looked at the 3 seniors. He is having a little hard time. Just as he was thinking how to deal with it, Carl spoke. "You little bastard. Where's all the arrogance from earlier?" Carl spoke as he blasted another fireball at Sam. When the flames cleared, they saw Sam standing there with his head down. When he lifted his head up and looked at Carl, his gaze became sinister. He is like a madman as stored his staff. He then took a weird golden-colored object from the storage and held it in his hand. This is none other than the weapon he made at the artisan exam. The crescent blade shined with golden Elias tree as it reflected under the sunlight. All the people were looking at it with awe. Even at the viewing platforms, all the people were looking at the weapon with puzzlement. Only the people from the artisan tower are watching it with anticipation. Under the surprised and confused gazes of all, Sam suddenly made his move. He disappeared from place, and he started moving towards Carl with a dangerous aura surrounding him. He is emitting an ice-cold killing intent, which is complete contrast with the golden flames he is emitting from the weapon in his hands. Just as he was about to reach Carl, he was attacked from behind. The warrior hit him on his back with his axe. But just as he was about to land the hit, Sam turned around and blocked the attack with the blunt part of his weapon. Then he waved his hand, and one of the crescent blades was pierced directly into the warrior's body, as he directly pierced it from a spot near the collarbone. When seniors saw this, they all took a step back. The warrior who was pierced can't even let out a scream. When all of them looked at the blade, they noticed that not a single part of the crescent blade is out. It directly entered the other's body, slashing all the internal organs on its way. Blood splashed on Sam's face as he pushed the blade deeper and deeper. when he can't push it anymore. He directly landed a knee kick on the ribs of the warrior. Crack, crack, crack. Cracking sounds could be heard as Sam kicked continuously with his knees on the ribs of the senior. By now, all the ribs on the one side are broken. When there is no more cracking sound, Sam looked at the senior's face, which is filled with pain and hanging on his last breath. He held the weapon tightly and pulled it down completely. The upper body of the person was slashed into two as blood and the internal organs, which are now in pieces, came out along with the broken bone shards. Some of the seniors even puked out at the scene. But Sam didn't even bat an eyelid, and then moved towards Carl again. This time, he is not even running, he is just walking step by step. But the other warrior didn't even make a move. Sam stood in front of Carl and immediately slashed at him. Carl finally came out of his daze and tried to dodge his attack. But he failed to and had a deep slash on his chest as blood gushed out. Carl released a blood-curdling scream as he fell to the ground. He looked at Sam with resentment and fear at the same time. He hurriedly aimed at the sky and shot a fireball. Sam didn't bother by his actions. He just slashed again, and this time he aimed at Carl's arm. Just as the blade made contact with the arm, Sam sensed the danger from behind. He abruptly stopped his actions and swung the crescent blade as he hit something. When the object which came towards him made contact with his blade, it made a clanking sound, and the surrounding wind turned chaotic for a second. Sam looked at the object and saw it was an arrow. He then coldly looked at the direction which it came and saw a guy in white, standing there with a bow in his hand, and an arrow nock on it. He is the Wind Element Mage warrior who was a part of the scout team of the seniors. He released another arrow at Sam. But this time something unexpected happened. Sam swung his weapon as the arrow appeared, and the blade this time slashed the arrow into two. Carl is slowly crawling backwards. He felt lucky that he made a deal with the archer earlier. He then looked for the bag in which Sam kept his token. When he saw where it was, he kept his looks on Sam, who was fending off the arrows. He was very careful to not gather his attention. Then suddenly Sam turned towards him and gave him a smirk. He felt a bad premonition. Sam jumped behind rock to take cover. He then held the weapon as he made the double S symbol face him and looked at it. Right now, the symbol is not straight as it is tilted a little. Wedges on both sides are against the symbol as if they are blocking it from getting straight. Sam held the weapon by his handle horizontally and made the symbol face upwards. Then he held the symbol with his other hand and straightened it forcefully as it pushed the wedges into the blocks. The crowd around him, including Mason, is looking at his weird actions and daze. Even the spectators at the viewing platforms are all looking at him. When he straightened the symbol, the weapon suddenly elongated as two blocks protruded out. The tendon stretched to its limits. Sam then turned the weapon vertically and pulled the tendon which a little. The weapon now like a bow. The spectators all dumbfounded. They didn't expect the melee weapon which suited Sam's ruthless fighting style when he killed the warrior earlier, but when they saw the weapon turning into a bow, they were clearly surprised. Sam took out a ranked arrow and knocked on the bow. Then he came out from the hiding and aimed at the archer far away. The spiritual energy turned into a huge sphere at the tip of the arrow, then it suddenly started condensing as if it was being compressed forcefully. Then the small sphere suddenly turned golden color and brightened. Sam gave a cold smile and released the arrow. The archer on the other side immediately smelled the threat and was about to leave. But the arrow is too fast, and when it landed on him, leaving a trail of fire on its way. There was a huge explosion and the surroundings all burned to ashes, even some rocks started melting. By the time the explosion was cleared, all they can see is a huge crater in midst of which a burning corpse lay down. Sam didn't even look twice at the explosion and walked towards Carl, who was staring the scene with a dumbfounded expression. He slowly reached to the double S symbol and turned it so it can change back into its original form. When he finally came in front of Carl and looked deep into his fearful eyes and emitted immense killing intent, he then spoke in a low voice. "What did you call me earlier? Can you repeat that? I didn't hear it clearly." Everyone finally came out of their stupor and realized what had Sam done. Particularly, Mason is wiping his sweat. He fell into daze from the point when Sam changed his weapon. The rest of the events happened in a blink of an eye. He looked at Sam, who is emitting an immense killing intent. It is so intense that he could almost smell blood in the air. Carl peed his pants as he felt the full brunt of Sam's killing intent. He then stuttered. "Cry Crimson Flame F family would never forgive you, if you kill me." This almost took out all the energy Carl has left. Sam didn't reply and just jabbed the blade directly into the shoulder of Carl, which cut half of the joint. Then he grabbed the hand at the wrist and tore the whole arm off from the shoulder. "Ah!" Carl screamed in agony. The rest of the seniors took a step back and just wanted to stay away. They almost couldn't bear to see the scene. At the spectators' viewing platform, the head of the Crimson Flame family stood up from his chair as he released a terrifying aura. But Sam didn't know any of it. His full focus was on Carl, who was shivering like a leaf as his handsome face was filled with tears and snot. The arrogance from earlier was completely gone. Sam then jabbed the blade into other shoulder and said, "Come again. I didn't hear you clearly." His cold voice and the sinister smile on his handsome face made him look like a devil in a human form. Carl didn't know what to say. In fact, he didn't dare to say anything. Sam looked at the pitiful Carl and said coldly, "Do you know what I hate the most?" Carl shook his head. Someone calling me a bastard. He then tore the other arm off and jabbed the blade in one of the legs at the thigh, and pinned it into the ground, and proceeded to tear off. No, just kill me. Please, no. Carl's screams finally stop. Not because the pain has stopped, but because he didn't have any energy left to scream. Sam stopped after he tore off all the 4 limbs. He then stored the weapon and held Carl's leg in his hand. He tore off the flesh and took the bone in his hands. Then he broke the bone into half and looked at Carl, who is now lying in a pool of his own blood. Everyone's blood turned cold as they looked at Sam's ruthless actions. They thought that Sam was like a demon from hell. They even forgot that he was a human for once. Then under everyone's gaze, Sam directly pierced the bone's sharp edge into Carl's throat. Carl could only groan in pain as he waited for death to come. He just wanted to die in peace. But his wish didn't come true. He heard Sam's cold voice. I hope you will be born dumb in your next life. Otherwise, you will die a dog's death just like now. As finished speaking, he slowly spread a golden fire on Carl's body, burning him alive. For the last moment until he lost his life. Carl didn't have a moment of relief as he felt an extreme pain until the final moment. He died with pain and regret filled his eyes as he looked at Sam's eyes, which are completely cold and emotionless. Under everyone's gaze, Carl turned into ashes. Sam then turned towards the remaining warrior from the 7 before. He immediately took a knife and slit his throat himself. He felt that suicide is better than suffering Sam's torture. Then Sam's gaze turned towards the 4 people who fainted previously. They are now dead because of lack of treatment. Then only he relaxed a bit and sat down in meditation. The rest of senior team exchanged glances and then turned towards Mason. Mason took out his token and broke it without saying a word. The rest of the seniors all followed suit. All the seniors disappeared. Then only Sam left in the ground and an announcement came. 3rd round assessment is completed. Winners are the freshman team. At the same time at viewing platform another loud scream can be heard. Carl. At the viewing platforms, on the center stage, there are 2 groups of people standing separately. One is the freshman group and the other is the senior group, both of which just participated in the competition. Suddenly, a light appeared in the center of the stage, and a figure sitting cross-legged emerged slowly as light dissipated. As soon as the light appeared, all the spectators took a step back and cleared a significant distance. All the people were looking at him with various expressions. Some of them were looking at him in fear, some in admiration, some in resentment. Who could it be other than Sam? Sam just sat there and meditated with a peaceful expression on his face. Family heads of the noble families in City Lord are looking at him as if they wanted to tear him to shreds and pieces. But Sam was not concerned about it, and sat there as if he was in his own home. This made the other freshmen look at him with new respect. They clearly saw how ruthlessly he can kill someone. His methods are worse than death. But now looking at his handsome face with peaceful expression, they weren't able to relate at all. Principal stood up from his seat and broke the silence. The assessment for this year admissions are over, and both freshmen and seniors performed well in the 3rd round. He spoke as he looked at all the freshmen and seniors. Even though he spoke as if he was praising them, anyone could say he didn't mean it at all. All the students who met his gaze hung their head low. He then continued. The 3rd round is won by the freshmen. Now all the seniors can leave, except the top 3 rankers. As soon as he spoke, all the seniors left the stage and walked deep into the academy. There are only 3 seniors left on the vast stage. They are Mason, Dorman and another senior who is a fire elemental mage at late stage. Principal nodded at them and then looked at the freshmen. He then spoke again. From today onwards you are all the students of the Starwood Academy. You will be given the living quarters inside the academy, and you can sign up for the classes you think are suitable. If you can't decide, you can ask your seniors for help. Now accept the names on the list. All of you can step down from the stage. As soon as he finished, a large screen appeared and there are only 4 names on the list, and those names are of Sam, Melissa, Jack and Sean. After only the 4 of them were left on the stage, Principal looked at the 7 members on the stage, and then spoke. Now the prizes will be given for all of you. 3rd place of the senior team Howard. 500 academic credits. 2nd place of the senior team Dorman 1000 academic credits. 1st place of the senior team 1500 academic credits. Now moving on to the freshman team. You guys have 3 types of rankings. The 2nd round ranking. The 3rd round ranking. The overall ranking. I will announce all of them at the same time, since there isn't much difference. Melissa's 2nd round ranking 4th, 3rd round ranking 3rd, overall ranking 3rd. A total of 1000 academic credits. Jack's 2nd round ranking 3rd, 3rd round ranking 2nd, overall ranking 2nd. A total of 2500 academic credits. Sean's 2nd round ranking 2nd, 3rd round ranking 3rd, overall ranking 2nd, a total of 2500 academic points. After announcing their names, Principal looked at Sam, who was still meditating, without giving a damn about what is happening. Just as he was about to open his mouth, someone spoke. Principal, I don't think he is suitable to enroll in the academy. The one who spoke is Crimson Flame family head. Principal frowned as he looked at him. At this moment other family heads spoke. I think Crimson Flame Patriarch spoke truth. I also feel like he is indeed not suitable. Hartfield family head said. I agree. The head of the Greyhound family. I think that I already made myself clear about the admissions. You don't have any say in this matter. The principal's voice grew colder. Then the city lord's voice came. Principal, did you not see how ruthless he is to his own schoolmates? He is at such a young age, but he is so vicious. He killed so many members for such trivial thing as insulting. If we were to rear someone like him, it would be a king growing a snake inside our own house. He is not suitable for the academy at all. Principal was about to say something, but suddenly an elder from the academy spoke. Principal, I think what city lord said makes sense. His character doesn't suit our academy at all. Another elder chimed in. He doesn't even bat an eyelid when torturing them. He is indeed ruthless. Yes, Principal. You have to think clearly. He is already too ruthless. When Principal saw these three elders and the looks on the family heads' faces, he clearly understood the situation. These elders were all lackeys of the noble families. Enough. Do I need to remind you guys who is in charge? The principal raised his voice as made every elder shut up. Do I have an opinion here? Suddenly a voice came from the stage. All the spectators looked towards the stage and saw Sam, who was meditating all this time, spoke as he opened his eyes and slowly stood up. He stretched his body a little as he looked at all the family heads and elders. All of them are looking at him as to listen to what he has to say. Sam turned towards the elders and said, I want to ask a question. Did I break any rules? As soon as they heard his question, all the spectators were dumbfounded. That's right, he indeed didn't break any rules at all. So, they have no reason to reject his admission. But these elders doesn't want to give up yet. One of them spoke. It's not about the rules. You definitely lack character. With your ruthlessness, you will be a tumor to the society, much less an academy. Listening his answer, nobody believed it. But nobody called him out as well. Sam only nodded as he had a pondering expression on his face. Then he looked at the family heads and asked, What is the problem with you guys? The family heads were about blow their tops when they heard the nonchalance in his voice. But they kept their cool, and the Crimson Flame family head spoke. You killed our offspring. So, don't even think about using the academy to escape the consequences. Oh, why can't I kill them? Sam asked with same nonchalance. The Crimson Flame family head felt humiliated. He gritted his teeth and spoke. Carl is of noble birth. He has a great future. He has yet to see the world. How can he die in the hands of a peasant like you? Even if he tries to kill you, it should be your honor. He spoke as if he is stating a universal truth. Sam suddenly felt speechless as if he looked at the family heads who were nodding their heads with approval. He shook his head and spoke. Do you know why they died? All the family heads frowned as they looked at him, and he continued. Because you guys rubbed your hypocrisy over them. You should have told them one thing. They can use their status to live in a society, but they can't live with it in a battle. He paused and continued. Let me give you a damn good reason why I can kill them. Because you provoke with insufficient strength. So, what if he is of noble birth? He is weak. So, what if he had a great future? He is weak. So, what if I am a peasant? He is weak. So, what if he had status? He is ultimately still weak. So shut your fucking mouths and stop showing off your hypocrisy. He then turned towards the principal and said, What do you guys decide about the admission? Before the principal could speak, an elder who spoke before beat him to it. A disrespectful brat like you can only dream about getting an admission. Principal, I think we should teach him a lesson instead. You also heard how he spoke. Sam raised his eyebrows and took a good look at the opposing elders, and then the family heads. Then he looked at the principal and said, I actually don't like to talk much, but as it is about the academy where the future generations are nurtured, I will make an exception. He paused and let out a sigh. Then he pointed at the elders who spoke out earlier and continued. An academy which has these people who could get their teaching values swayed by the things like power, authority and wealth as teachers. I don't have much expectations on it that it could nurture any good students. As far as I know, the students' quality will depend on the teacher who nurtured them. So, I refuse the admission of the school. As soon as he finished, he saw the surprise in everyone's eyes, including the principal. Then he saw the looks of the noble family heads, who were a bit surprised but also happy. But before they could get fully excited, Sam did something that really felt like cold water splashed on their faces. Sam took out 2 badges and started rubbing them with his sleeves. Then he pinned both of them on his chest over the coat. Then he looked at all the dumbfounded gazes of the spectators, before finally stopping at the family heads. He then spoke. Good luck killing me. But I have an advice for you. If you guys aren't completely confident enough to kill me, or if you think there is even a slight possibility that I can escape, you better stay put and do nothing, because if you miss, I will make sure that I won't miss at all. He got off the stage and walked towards the exit. The family heads' faces are looks to behold. They clearly saw what badges that Sam was wearing. They're the badges of the pseudo-rank 2 artisan and the scholar artisan. They're now sweating at the fact on how they offended Sam. They even made advances to kill him. They regret it now dearly. Looking at Sam's back, Philip and his friends followed him. City Lord and the Crimson Flame family head looked at Haley and Freya hesitating before leaving with same dumb expressions. but they didn't dare to stop them. They already are regretting about their actions. They don't want to offend Sam even more. Philip and others met with Sam. They didn't know what to speak at all, looking at Sam's expression, and just kept on walking together. But after some time, Philip broke the silence. "Sam, are you sure you don't want to join the academy?" he asked in a concerned tone. Sam just stayed silent. Actually, he was pretty pissed about the attitude from the teachers from the academy. Looking at his silent face, Philip continued. "Actually, this time the academy's selection has much more than normal assessment. According to my father, there is something big going on at the Count Noble title city. That is the reason Freya, Haley and Paul all got admitted last year, even though they are all at the initiation only. My father said the Count needs the young talents for something. So, you might miss this opportunity if you reject the admission." At Philip's words, Sam has a change in expression, but he didn't say anything. He then looked at them and finally stopped at Haley and Freya. "Just forget about it. Let's go. I have something to do." He spoke and the rest of them followed silently. After some time, the group of 6 people came to a place which made Philip and others look in astonishment. They are in front of an inscription tower. When they saw Sam about to make his way into the tower, they have a premonition that something about to happen. Finally, after 2 hours they came outside, with Sam and led. Sam has a red color badge which has a 1 and 9 golden stars below it. Then there's a symbol of brush and scroll in a room below it. All the people in the tower and the staff are in uproar. Philip and the others are also looking at him in awe. They are still in daze as they followed Sam without even thinking what is going on. Before they knew it, they are at another place. Then they were dumbstruck again. They were in front of the formation tower. This time they felt their hearts come out of its place. They looked at Sam as if they were looking at a monster. When they compared themselves to him. Never mind. After some time, Sam has a blue color badge with same 1 and 9 stars, but at the bottom, it has a formation flag. Looking at the badges on his chest, Sam felt quite satisfied. But he then took them off and pinned them inside of his coat, and then turned towards Philip and others. "Let's go my treat today." Then he walked towards Riverside Mansion. It already became dusk. At the Riverside Mansion, Sam and Philip are sitting around the fire. There are several birds over the flame. Sam took these bird-type beasts from the assessment grounds. As the birds were grilling, everyone was silent as they don't know what to say. They had too many surprises today. First is Sam is way more powerful, and second one is Sam is becoming a rank 1 inscription master and formation master. Sam looked at their faces and spoke after he sighed. "Ms. Freya, Ms. Haley. I am really sorry. I know it's not comfortable for you guys, but I must say, I can't just leave your kin, just based on our relationship. Because I don't think our relationship is close enough. So, if you want to stay away from me, I won't stop you. We could act as strangers." As soon as Sam spoke, both Haley and Freya froze for a moment, then Freya spoke. "You don't have to apologize. Actually, me and Carl aren't close anyway. He is an illegitimate child of my father and we are not any good terms. In fact, I hate him to the guts. It's just that I was afraid you will hate me for what my family did." As soon as Freya finished, Haley also said, "I also don't have anything to do with what happened. Even Harry is also son of a concubine. You don't have to apologize." She paused and then took a deep breath, and then looked at Freya. Freya also met her gaze, and they both nodded and turned towards Sam again as Haley continued. "Actually, we are the one who should apologize for what our families did. We also have a favor to ask. We hope you can be lenient if our families don't provoke you further." They both looked at him with a pleading gaze. They were both afraid. Because, with Sam's status as an artisan, inscription master and a formation master, all he needs is to say a word and make some promises, then there would be a lot of individual cultivators that are willing to take revenge for him. That is why they are pleading him. Sam then nodded and didn't say anything. They then had small talk as they ate the grilled meat peacefully. Meanwhile, many people in the city are in uproar as the news about Sam rejecting the admission and his status as an artisan spread among the city. Then they heard another shocking news. After leaving the exam site, Sam went to Inscription Tower and the Formation Tower, and passed the Rank 1 exam. The family heads in particular are restless. They wanted to make a visit and compromise, but they don't know how they should proceed. There is another person who is also restless now. That is the principal of the academy. He is already a little regretful about Sam not taking the admission. Now that he heard that Sam is also an inscription master and formation master, he immediately lost his cool. "I have to action immediately. Otherwise, the loss is I can't let him go," he muttered as he walked outside.